Thank you. Thank you.
Good. And when you look at the numbers and you see how much the government has given away, it's just crazy to think. I was with Rudy Giuliani yesterday. We did an interview on my podcast. And we talked about what they're doing in New York City, giving $53 million in prepaid cards for illegal immigrants. You guys? I like this one. Sorry. I'm with my friends. I love being here, so. With that being said, at the end of the day, I'm concerned whether Donald Trump becomes president or not. What are we going to do about this debt crisis? And that is exactly where we have been strong to help people diversify their savings against those worst case scenarios. We are a precious metals company, and what we do is we help people hedge against those worst cases where, let's say, your tyrannical government wants to take your money. Who saw the FBI reports that they're targeting keywords like MAGA, Bass Pro Shops, and maybe even Turning Point USA? And they're targeting you based on your political conservative beliefs. Guys,
every day, our team is determined to provide an open door, a way to free smart, hardworking Americans from the challenge of student debt, giving them a way to repay with dignity and helping them move forward. And it's working.
All my refi, Ada understood to me, and she listened, and she was, the first person to really hear my story, and I
So right now my credit is in the high 700s, which I never thought I'd be even close to that.
We went from paying over $1,000 a month to $560 a month for a 10-year refinance. But there's not a lot of companies out there like Wire Refi. There's a million Americans out there that need you.
Do well by doing good. That is our mantra.
We invite you to join this movement
and invest in their future and your future as a Wire Refi investor
and change maker.
We're entrepreneurs and innovators who believe in capitalism and the American dream. We decided we're not going to build a company burdened by institutional debt. We know we built something special.
Cứ vậy thôi.
Tại vì nó đứng nói chuyện thôi. Người ta lại giúp ích cho nước Mỹ.
What an honor it is to be here at this amazing Make America Great Again rally. Conservative, capitalist, American patriots. Fantastic. Thank you.
Go!
All of you. So, hey, thank you for having me. My name is Lane Schumberg, Chief Investment Officer, Founding Partner of Wire Refi. And you've probably seen our commercials, maybe heard endorsements from Charlie, Kirk, Larry, Sean Hannity, Clay and Buck. And we are very serious. We take those endorsements very serious. What we do at Wire Refi is we are changing lives and saving lives. And a lot of people don't understand what that really looks like. So let me just share with you. This country has a massive problem right now, and it's called the student loan debt crisis, right? $1.8 trillion, and we can thank our federal government for the most of that, okay? Here's the thing. As you may know, student loans are bankruptcy protected. They are almost impossible to get out of. There's always a conversation about forgiveness, usually to buy votes. In our world, well, we don't deal with the federal student loans. That's a whole other animal. We're going to focus on one small segment, the private.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I am the pastor in the great state of Georgia. Georgia is where I started pastoring. I'd never pastored a church before, and I became a pastor, pastored the only church I've ever pastored, a church called Free Chapel. I met my wife. I am originally from North Carolina, and I met my wife in Stone Mountain and kissed her at Stone Mountain for the first time. I love Georgia. How many of you are thankful to be in Georgia? So what is a preacher and a pastor doing here? Well, we're going to pray in just a moment. But he gives a little bit of credit to that chart, but he gives a lot of credit, all the credit, to God Almighty. And, you know, we left all of our denominational labels out in the parking lot. We've gathered under one name, the name of Jesus Christ, in this room. And I ask you now, if you would, to pray with me. When Jesus was asked, how should we pray? He said, if you want to cover your nation, if you want to cover your family, if you want to cover your marriage, your children, your children's children, the future generations. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm in this fight. We're fighting for the freedom and the faith and growing up in a free nation for our children and our children's children. And Jesus said, if you want to know how to pray in the perfect will of the Father, pray like this. And if you don't know the Lord's Prayer, it's okay. We got you covered. And you'll recognize little pieces in it. And when we say it, it takes 24 seconds to pray the whole prayer. And you cover everything in your life. So pray it with us and jump in on the parts you know. And if you don't, just kind of mumble. God sees your heart and He loves you tonight. Would you pray with me, everyone, in unison, the Lord's Prayer? Let's invite God's presence into America and into Georgia and into this election. You can call me a Christian nationalist. I am a Christian, and I love America. Pro-Constitution. Let's pray. Our Father, which art in heaven. Come on, everybody. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Would you give the King of Kings?
Oh, strength can you see by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the pale
USA! 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 Woo!
Put your hands together for She Van Fleet.
Hello, Georgia.
Hello.
My name is She Van Fleet. I'm an immigrant, a legal immigrant. I was invited here to speak to you because I have an important message. I have lived through two Marxist cultural revolutions. One I lived through in China more than 50 years ago, and one right here in America with the rest of you. I grew up during the Chinese Cultural Revolution, and believe me, I've seen a world turned upside down, mouths ripped off, destroying the entire. Good afternoon, Georgia. I am so excited to be casting my vote this year for Donald J. Trump for president.
Whoa!
He's the greatest president in our lifetimes, and we have to make sure we do everything we can to get out the vote for him. Our super PAC, Tea Party Patriot Citizens Fund, is doing just that. And if you're interested in the work that we're doing, you can go to winelectionsga.com. And if you're watching and you're not from Georgia, just go to winelections.com. The reason that I'm so determined to make sure that Donald Trump is president again is because of our border. I've been to the border so many times over the last decade, and Donald Trump is serious about making sure that we have a lawful border and that it is secure once again.
Woo!
This year, it really hit home for us in Georgia, didn't it? Those of us who are graduates from UGA were very alarmed. Go Dogs! We were very alarmed when we heard there was a student missing on the campus of our alma mater. I was alarmed because parents my age have kids in school there right now.
Good afternoon, Georgia!
Yeah!
It's great to be here. I'm Jacob Hellberg, and I'm a refugee from the communist state of California.
Wow! Woo! Yo!
4 years ago, I decided to vote with my feet and moved east. I chose liberty over looting, freedom over fanaticism, and winning over wokeness. That's what I found in Florida, and that's what I feel today here in Georgia.
Yo!
Politics can be complicated, but for me, it all comes down to something very simple. Trump puts America first, Kamala blames America first. Kamala literally said she wants all of us to be more woke. She divides us into tiny boxes and pits us against each other. Whites versus non-whites, rich versus poor, villains versus victims. And if you're in the wrong group, you'll be silenced, canceled, and demonized. If you want a border, you're xenophobic. If you want safe streets, you're systemically racist. If you want to choose what car you drive, you're a climate denier. If you want schools that focus more on math and less on pronouns, you're privileged. This is what the Democratic Party believes today. They gaslight you every day. It's insane. Their answer to everything is to blame you. My friends, our answer is that there's nothing wrong with us that we can't fix this November.
Hello.
Can you feel it?
Yeah.
13 days.
We can wait.
Until we make Donald J. Trump the 47th president.
Yeah. Woo! We can wait.
It's great to see everybody. I'm really happy that my wife Jacqueline is here today. I could not be chairman of the Georgia Republican Party without her. I love you. Thank you for being here. I'm also so grateful to our friends at Turning Point Action. They've been such wonderful allies in this fight over the last year to get us where we are on the precipice of victory. So, you know, I miss the old Democratic Party. That may be a weird thing to say here. I miss the Democratic Party that knew the difference between a man and a woman.
Oh.
I miss the Democratic Party that joined with us in standing strong with the state of Israel. So you have a choice to make between two Americas, two Georgias. We can choose one with less freedom. We can choose one where we say America's just going to recede into the background. Do you want to go to that America?
No.
Me either. I want to live in the America where a guy who had to drop out in the 8th grade to take care of his family went to fight in the Pacific in World War II, had a modest grocery store, and his grandson is standing here before you as chairman of the Georgia Republican Party. That's the America I want to live in.
Collins.
Yo.
Hello, Georgia!
Hello.
Wow, this must be the small rally that Kamala was talking about down the street.
Woo!
There's no way she could draw a crowd this big in Georgia, not even with a free concert. And by the way, Christ is King.
Whoa! Woo!
Christ is King. 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 If y'all don't know that I am time some mic. What's up, Georgia? Who's ready to send Donald Trump and J.D. Vance to the White House on November 5th?
Whoa!
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an important election. I know all of you know that. The White House runs right through the middle of the great state of Georgia. And it's incumbent upon every one of us to get excited. It's incumbent upon every one of us to ensure we get out every Georgian to get to the polls between now and November 5th to secure their ballot, to lock in their vote for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance to get our country back on track. You know, as the commissioner, that you're doing to get Donald Trump across the finish line, we're going to end this, we're in this together. We're going to make this happen. Y'all help us work through it. Y'all keep plowing all the way to November 5th, and I'm going to keep plowing with you. Y'all have a wonderful afternoon. God bless you.
Thank you. Woo!
Please welcome Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Whoa! Woo! Howard! Woo! Woo-hoo! Yeah!
Oh, I love you.
Woo-hoo!
Jesus is Lord, Christ is King. If you don't disagree with me, I'm not going to tell you to go to the rally down the street. We're not throwing you out. But Kamala Harris will. Let me tell you, that should have been the message heard to every single American citizen that is voting in this election. When Kamala Harris went off
I gotta get a selfie with you guys. It's good.
You got to make sure that freedom reigns. Thank you.
Woo! Freedom!
Please welcome Peter Navarro.
Whoa! Woo!
I listen to this guy talk about freedom. I know a little bit about freedom.
Yeah!
And what it means to lose it. Yeah, free Steve Bennett. We got any more room folks here? Any posse? No, I can't hear you.
Woo!
Steve, Cat. All right, look. I've had this dream about November 6th. And there's two things that keep coming to me the morning November 6th. One of them, of course, is that Donald John Trump is our 47th president.
Woo!
But here's the other thing. I want to read in the paper and see it on the fake news. Make them choke this up. Make them choke this up. It was the youth vote put out by Turning Point that won the election. I'm an old guy. I remember Charlie Kirk, the first time I met him, Mac. I was with the boss in 2016 on the campaign trail, and I'm thinking, This guy's Sisyphus, if you know that myth, pushing the boulder up the hill. How do you get college kids these days to vote Republican? Charlie taught us how. You're here, look at this. We got more people in this audience than the Bruce Springsteen concert's gonna happen tomorrow. You know about that, right? Yeah, Kamala, when she wants to get a crowd and she brings like people like that, right? We don't need to do that, we just have Charlie Kirk. And here it is, presto. All right, I've got some good news, but I gotta ask for your help. And it's not good news for this country, but it is in a way, because we're about to have a turning point in this country. Are we? You know what that word means? Take that word literally. Take it literally. Turning point, change. Okay, we're about to turn our page on them. Close that book. How dare they talk about turning a page when they've been there for 4 years? Here's
It is very clear that Georgia loves winners, which is why Georgia loves President Donald J. Trump. I'm standing backstage over here and I listened to Peter. He said, I'm still looking to find one person who supports the idea, the absurd idea of putting men in women's sports. Well, Peter, I've got two for you. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Man, it's crazy to be on this stage. To be very clear, this is never where I saw myself, never a position I imagined myself in. I had no intention of being here. I was in dental school after college, hoping to become an endodontist, but by God's will and His favor, here we are. All for merely saying men and women are different. Just 2 years ago, I was a college student studying and competing at the University of Kentucky. I very proudly finished my career as a 12-time NCAA All-American, a 5-time SEC champion, actually the SEC record holder in the 200 butterfly, making me one of the fastest Americans of all time. Two-time Olympic trial qualifier, SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year, SEC Community Service Leader of the Year. The list goes on, but again, just to reiterate, it really is a lifelong journey to be able to compete and ultimately succeed at the highest level. I could share my personal testimony of the events that led me to be here. I could tell you about how me and my teammates were robbed of a fair shot of winning a national championship. I could share the grotesque details of what it was like being forced to undress inches away from a 6'4" man who watched us strip down to nothing while he did the same, exposing his fully intact, naked male body.
I love Georgia.
Oh.
What? Wow, there, man. That's my dog. Georgia has a fond place in my heart. It's a beautiful place. It's a red state. I don't believe this is a swing state at all. This is a red state.
Yes.
And Georgia, I want to say thank you on behalf of the entire internet for giving us the greatest mugshot in the history of the world. Thank you, Georgia. That was loud. Big Fanny can hear you, boys. Big Fanny getting spanked hard right now. Sorry, if Nathan Blaine's in the audience, I'm not trying to get you too excited with it. They're going to jail, baby. They're going to jail.
Woo!
Look what they tried to do to my boy. They tried to ruin his career. They went in, they said, this will ruin his career. We'll give him a mugshot. What they ended up giving him was the cover of a rap album. Come out with an advisory sticker, and this is the hardest track of the summer. And y'all seen rappers actually getting this tattooed on them? Does anybody know someone with a Trump mugshot tattoo? This isn't backfired. This is the biggest backfire in the history of politics. This Forgiato blow, right there. Stand up. This rapper.
My man.
My wife wouldn't let me get one. I was going to get it.
Why not? Why not?
Actually, we should force Tim Walz to get one of those. What was wrong with that guy?
Woo!
Tucker Carlson's backstage. He has to take some Tim Walz. Okay, here we go. Got any Christians in the audience? Here's the point. This is the point. What man intends for evil, God intends for good. It's what's been happening to our boy God.
Yes.
This entire election cycle, they have tried to assassinate him. They tried political assassinations, Hillary Clinton, Russian dossier. They tried impeachment, 400 years in jail. Some states tried to take him off the ballot. They tried to remove the capacity to vote for Donald Trump. That is itself a style of assassination. So when you vote Trump, vote twice as hard for those people that didn't want, the democracy defenders that wanted to take him off the ballot. Ladies and gentlemen, then they tried literal assassinations. I see Brick Suit down here in the front row.
Woo!
He was there in Butler. But what? Man intends for evil, God intends for good. And what we ended up getting was something even more epic.
Yeah! What the? Woo! Woo!
Was some sweet liberal from Ooh, baby. Hey, Kamala, would you like a side of lies with that? Kamala Harris lied about working at McDonald's. Anybody work fast food? Anybody works as a waiter? I sure did. Most Americans have. This is... What's up? Guys up there talking about special sauce. I got some special sauce for you, pal.
Yeah!
It's the memes, baby.
Oh!
Trigger.
Oh!
They can't stop the memes.
Yeah! Woo! Yeah! Woo! Woo-hoo! Yeah! Woo-hoo!
I don't normally break news in front of massive stadiums of people, but you're all just too beautiful. I sent a very exclusive, very private screenshot of a photo of Kamala Harris on her birthday watching President Trump work the fries at McDonald's. Do you want to see it? Oh, it sucks. Oh, I'm so sorry. This was not a great birthday for you.
Yeah. Man, woo.
How do you beat this? You don't beat this.
Yeah.
Trump fixed the ice cream machine. Trump worked at McDonald's for one day, he fixed the ice cream machine, and now Joe Biden's wearing a MAGA hat. What time are we
Thank
living
you.
This is the greatest timeline.
Goodbye.
I have played for you some memes today. That's not a meme.
Thank you, Bridges.
It's all the ice cream machine, baby. Not a meme. A real photo. Who wants a commander-in-chief who's a servant leader?
Yes.
Because that's what this is.
Woo.
Christian servant leadership is putting on that apron when you're a billionaire, getting your hands dirty, getting some of that salt, some of that grease on your skin. Who's been there? I've been there. Working like the common man. You know what that does? That gives. And we can all enjoy some delicious, salty, crispy fries served to us by our commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, as a servant leader. That's why the libs are freaking out over this. They can't conceive of ever stooping down to our level, ever doing real work like the common man. This is why they're losing their mind, because they know how much this connects. It connected so much, in fact, that RFK Jr., who's backstage, said, he told me right before I went on, he said this would be the only time he eats seed oils is if Donald Trump served the fries at McDonald's. Powerful. What's the alternative here, exactly? So what's the other side offering? Somebody yelled, "Christ is King," at Kamala Harris, and she said, and I quote, "Oh, you were at the wrong rally this week." Ladies and gentlemen, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. That's the difference. Yeah. This is the difference, ladies and gentlemen. Any gun owners? Somebody explained to me, like, I get it that you're loading tampons into your shotgun. You're supposed to load your shotgun in your crotch. Are you trying to become a eunuch? Are these the free vasectomies I keep hearing about from the Democrat Party? Is this how it happens? Maybe this is why he can walk around like this all the time. Good old tampon tip. So total frauds. Do not start a tampon tip, guys. Do not do it. Although I will tell you, the greatest self-control I've ever seen in my life is the greatest self-control I've ever seen in my life. This is the J.D. Vance section up there. The greatest self-control I've ever seen in my life. You know you're going to hurt his feelings, right? You know he has a $2,000 shotgun he's never fired, right? That he didn't get a single bird. Anybody ever gone pheasant hunting? Anyone gone hunting? He didn't get a single bird, didn't fire a single shot, loaded the shotgun in his crotch, and used tampons, I think, to load the shotgun in his crotch. They're fraudulent. They're fraudulent. They're offering you an ideology that hates Christians, that hates Christ, and want to blow your balls off, I guess. That's a bad. Our God is offering you crispy, salty deliciousness from McDonald's with a smile. As he waves, like an Morocco band. Our side is bringing people together, including the man that's going to take us to Mars, including the man that's given everything for free speech.
Yes.
You want to talk about real joy, a campaign of joy? That's a campaign of joy right there.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Look at this moment. We'll soon be on the stage. This is the movement of populism. Populism is popular.
Woo!
The reason why is because, correct me if I'm wrong, we're all Americans, damn it. This is our country. There's not going to be another one. We're Native Americans. We were born here. My granddaddies were born here.
Right.
That means it's our country, and they have no right to destroy it.
Woo!
Populism means protecting our borders. Populism means putting America first, and there's only one motivation that you need, ladies and gentlemen, to carry through the day, and I'll share it with you. It's my motivation. It's my kids. It's my
Yeah! Woo!
I got 3 kids, and that's my wife right there, Nurse Kate. We're pregnant with our 4th. We are going to repopulate America with patriots, baby.
Yeah!
And it's never been easier.
Woo!
The left loads their shotgun and I fight for my children.
Exactly.
My children are Americans. They deserve this birthright.
Yes.
I fight for them. They're Americans, and a blessed generation leaves the country better off for their children.
Yes.
That's my motivation.
Woo!
Making America great again.
Yes.
Making America
Woo!
great for my American children.
Yeah! No! Fight for children!
That's something worth fighting for, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we are going to do. And I'll leave you with this. All God ever asks for, He asked for this in the Old Testament. Sodom and Gomorrah, it was a place that, they had a very rough, bad go. And all God asked for, the angel of God asked for, is for good men and women to stand up. And He said, I will save your land. I will save your nation. Will you stand with me and be seen tonight? To save
America! Hello! Save America! Woo! Yeah, baby! Woo! Yeah! Woo!
And Carson.
Go!
Thank you so much.
Woo! Woo! Yeah! Woo! Woo!
No, on January the 10th, 1963, read into the congressional record of our country, Congressman Herlong, the 45 goals of communism in America. And they were such things as gaining control of the public school system and the teacher union so you can indoctrinate the kids, gaining control of the news media and Hollywood so that you could change the culture of America, depressing the value of the family, removing God from the public sector, changing the churches so that instead of the real gospel, you had the social gospel, making sexual perversion normal, natural, and healthy. All of these things are going on in our society today. There have always been those who have wanted to change who we are. But I gotta tell you, even though they say awful things about our country, they say we're systemically racist, we treat people inappropriately. If we were all that bad, why are all these people trying to get in here?
Right! Walk right! Woo!
And those who want to change our country, particularly the leftists, the Marxists, they're so close right now. You know, Benjamin Franklin, when he came out of the Constitution Hall in 1787, he was asked, "Sir, what do we have there? A monarchy or a republic?" He said, "A republic, if you can keep it." We've kept it for 248 years. We're very close to losing it right now, except our founders were very smart. They studied every civilization that ever existed, and they realized that people just don't have the ability to leave other people alone, and that governments are the same way, and that they grow, they infiltrate, and they dominate. They gave us a fail-safe. The fail-safe is we the people. That is what makes the difference. And what they put in our hands was the ability to vote, and to vote in an appropriate way. Not the way that a lot of people vote. They just look for the name that looks familiar. I mean, it could be Satan, and they say, "I know that one." In many cases it is. So obviously that's not the way to do it. But the reason that they're so desperate right now is because they're so close to pushing us over the edge. But that's also the reason that they are so afraid of Donald Trump. Because he knows who they are. He knows what they do. And they're desperate to get rid of him. One of the ways that they're able to get their way is by intimidating people and making people fearful. It sort of started with political correctness, and then it's morphed into wokeness, and now it's gotten to a place where you have cancel culture, and there are a lot of people who are afraid, so they think the right way, but they won't say anything. Because they don't want to be called a nasty name, they don't want to be canceled, they don't want their families to suffer any damage. But I have to tell you this truth. You cannot be the land of the free if you're not the home of the brave.
Thank you.
And that's why they have been doing and are doing everything they possibly can to destroy him. First, to try to remove him from the ballot, then waging lawfare and weaponizing the Department of Justice and law enforcement at every level in a way that has never happened before in this country. Also that they could have this talking point to try to tell us, the American people, well, who are you going to vote for, a felon? Why are they doing this? They are doing this because he has the courage to take on and root out the deep corruption and rot that exists in the entrenched Washington establishment. And he's doing it for us. No matter what they throw at him, when you look at him, it seems like his resolve grows stronger and stronger. He is not backing down.
No. What's the other?
So we face a pivotal time as Americans, regardless of anyone's political affiliation. The choice for us is very clear. We have a choice between a presidential candidate who has shown through her record that she would have a presidency of more war, and more war, and pushing us to the brink of nuclear war. She would have a presidency that is against free speech, not hesitating to use the levers of her power to retaliate against political opponents, as she has done with Donald Trump, as she has done with Bobby Kennedy, and she has done with me. They went so far as one day after, when Kamala Harris was announced that she would be the nominee going forward to replace Joe Biden, I spoke out on Fox News about how dangerous that would be for us as Americans if she were to be the person with the nuclear codes. We're so disgusted by being used as pawns by this administration who doesn't hesitate to abuse their power that they came forward and told the truth. This is what we need more of in our country. Now, for those of you who may have friends or family or coworkers, or those who you know in your lives who haven't made up their minds yet in this election, I encourage you to have those conversations. Listen to their concerns. Turn down all of the noise and the propaganda that is flooding the airwaves and focus on what is most important to every one of us, and that is our God-given rights and freedoms enshrined in our Constitution and Bill of Rights. The vision that our founders had for us, that every one of us as Americans has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Country, we are once again that shining city on a hill that is committed to our Constitution and our way of life.
Thank you. So good.
We've got 12 days and a wake up. When we listen to the bugle call of reveille that sounds on every military base across the country, first thing in the morning, and then later at the end of the day, marking the raising of the flag and the lowering of the flag. Those of you who have been on a military base understand that when that bugle sounds, everything stops. People walking down the street will stop. Cars driving down the street will stop. Everything stops for those moments because it's an opportunity for every one of us to reflect on what that flag means.
Bravo! Woo! USA! USA! USA!
I was driving down here today from Atlanta, and I read an article from the New York Times. Bill Gates had just donated $50 million to Kamala Harris's campaign. And the article said that it was the first donation that he's made in 20 years. He stayed out of politics, and he's been bipartisan. It was a dark money donation. He didn't intend for it to be public. He routed the donation to a 501c4, which was an organization that was set up to conceal large money donations to the Harris campaign. A president who's going to make America healthy again.
Please welcome Chucker Carlson.
Never in my life spoken at a political rally. I've covered a million of them for over 30 years, and I've never spoken at one, never thought I would, and I'm so thrilled. I'm honored to be here. It's totally without shame and entirely with gratitude I'm standing here. And I can't believe I just spoke after Bobby Kennedy. So here we are at an enormous Donald Trump rally less than 2 weeks before the presidential election. I'm following Bobby Kennedy Jr. And somewhere in a half-empty Union Hall in a cold state is Dick Cheney's creepy little daughter campaigning with Kamala Harris. I have to say, that is a thrilling trade as far as I'm concerned. I never thought I would live to see the day when Bobby Kennedy would be one of the most beloved figures in a room full of Republicans, and Mr. Burns from The Simpsons and his criminal daughter would be Democrats. It's just absolutely wonderful. So here's my perspective. I think Donald Trump's going to win. That's why I'm here. I'm not here because he's going to win. I'm here because I'm so thrilled by what I've watched over the past 9 years. This is the end of a redemption arc. I've really never seen anybody treated like Donald Trump was treated, ever. Anybody, ever. Attack him. I watched this all up close. Defame him. Indict him. Arrest him. Let him get shot in the face. And he's gonna win anyway. Turned into a cliche by the people who write movie posters, but it doesn't make it any less real. Donald Trump's victory will be a triumph of the human spirit. It will be a triumph of Americans over the machine that seeks to oppress them. It'll be a middle finger wagging in the face of the worst people in the English-speaking world who are leaders. A moral victory the size of which I never thought I would live to see. And it's essential. It is so important that that happens for a couple of reasons, and here's what they are. The first is to dissolve for all time, for the world to see, the primary lie about Donald Trump, which is that only freaks and misfits like him. That's a lie. And they've been telling that lie since the second you came down that escalator 9 years ago. If you like that, there's something wrong with you. You're the only person you know who likes that. You're a freak. Be ashamed. Do not talk about Donald Trump in public. Don't wear his dangerous little red hat. And if you're in the media, how dare you speak to him? And that was a lie from day one. It was a big lie. It was January 6th is an insurrection. What? It's the kind of lie that they tell relentlessly. They punish anyone who contradicts the lie because it is so preposterous it can only be upheld through force. And in the last 3 months, we have seen that lie dissolve like the Wicked Witch of the West under a bucket of water. Is this a room full of freaks and misfits? No, it's not. This is a room full of people who love their country enough to obey its laws, who sincerely believe in its founding precepts, who pay their taxes, who go to work. The ever-shrinking percentage of Americans who work a 40-hour week, who expect nothing from the system, and who have given their lives for the system, who were born in this country and plan to die here. And they're the most mistreated group in this nation, and they're also the biggest group in this nation. They're not some weird subculture of MAGA, they're America itself. And the only people who are denying that are the freaks and the misfits, who it turns out are themselves a tiny, bizarre minority, a cult, who have controlled the rest of us through fear and aggression. And that has ended. And it has ended thanks to the heroic stand that a couple of individuals have taken, first among them Elon Musk. Elon Musk, who single-handedly saved the First Amendment to the Constitution, which, let me remind you, is not just a feature of America, it's the basis of America. Yes. It's the First Amendment for a reason. It's what separates the free from the enslaved. Slaves are not allowed to say what they think. Free men have God-given right to do so and will. And this is the only country on earth in which that is guaranteed. And without Elon Musk, it wouldn't be, because he stands alone as the owner of a media platform that is still open. There's only one, and it's X. Yep. It's foreign-born Elon Musk. And then for him to come out, and by the way, just for the record, I've taken not $1 from Elon Musk, okay? It's not a paid advertisement, it's just an observation. And this is heartfelt gratitude. And when you see the richest man on planet Earth stand up there in a t-shirt and start jumping around on stage, he's also one of the biggest federal contractors. People say, oh, he's got FU money. No, it's just the opposite. There is no such thing as FU money. The more money you have, the more vested you are. There's only FU poverty, actually, is the truth. And Elon Musk has more to lose than any living American by taking the position that he did, and he did it anyway. And so what's the message? If the person who's created the most, not just piles of cash, he's not Larry Fink, he's not worshiping money like our finance class, he's building things. And if that guy is for Donald Trump, and not only not ashamed of it, he's jumped around in a t-shirt, I can see his belly button, he's so excited. Then maybe I'm not alone. Maybe I'm not the freak. It's the tyranny of MSNBC. Whoa! A channel with virtually no viewers. A channel in which almost every single person has a personal life so grotesquely weird, if you knew the details, you'd call for their arrest. That's just true. And those people, the unhappiest people in this nation, are defining the terms of the conversation? I don't think so. The same way you got over the calling January 6th an insurrection for 3 years, by repeating it and by attacking anyone who disagreed. But it's an illusion. It's the Wizard of Oz. And once you pull back the curtain, the only thing back there is Joe Scarborough. You're like, wait a second. Why am I taking orders from this guy? He's a freak. I'm a normal person. And that realization has settled on this country. On the whole country. And you feel it. People are not afraid anymore. At all. I've got a bunch of kids I texted when I was speaking at a Trump rally.
Yep.
My kids. You go! You're voting for Carmela or whatever her name is? No. Of course not. That's embarrassing.
Yes.
It has flipped. The story the country tells itself about reality has flipped. None of the normal people are supporting the Democratic machine. Tim Walz is supporting the Democratic machine. A man you would never allow to babysit your own children. That's the party. It's the party of weirdos, of envy, of hate, of resentment, of bitterness, of weakness, of a total lack of creativity. It's a party of conformity. It's a party of the machine, where it doesn't matter who the candidate is because individuals are immaterial. All that matters is the collective. That's the Soviet model. And opposing them is the rest of the country, slowly waking up to the fact that these people have no moral authority whatsoever. They have no legitimacy in a democracy where the government must rule by the consent of the governed. They have no consent. And the way that they've treated this country over the past 4 years is the most shocking thing I've ever seen in 55 years. To allow millions of people, mostly young men with no skills and no English, into our country illegally, and then fly them around at our expense and give them phones and put them on welfare programs that no American citizen can get. It is the most insulting, but it's worse than boo. That's the biggest crime in the history of the United States of America. And it takes incredible stones, incredible gall for the people who did that to stand up there on a stage and give you a lecture about how you're immoral. It's too much. And so that's the second important thing about this election, okay? The first is every person in this room needs to understand you are not in a despised minority. You are in an incredibly gentle and tolerant majority. They don't build anything in their lives. They went out of their way to humiliate you and spit on you and the graves of your ancestors. And that's not an exaggeration, they did that. And this country is so nice, it's so polite, it's so thoughtful and empathetic and sweet. It's the kind of country that loves dogs and gives directions to strangers, that we put up with it for 4 years. But we can't anymore.
Yeah! Woo!
And we can't for 2 reasons. The first reason that we can't put up with it for 1 more minute is because it's just not justice. It's not. It's not justice. It's unfair. You cannot reward the most parasitic, useless, violent, nasty, aggressive people in your country. You can't make them the richest. You just can't. It's just wrong. In a fair, decent country, the people who work the hardest, who have the highest level of talent, who are the most creative, who are the most decent to their neighbors, who give the biggest tips to waitresses, those people should be successful. Those people should be revered. It shouldn't be very fake. Are you joking? Kamala Harris shouldn't have a job. She has no skills.
Yes.
How did we wind up with a system where Kamala Harris, you couldn't change the tire on your truck, much less drive it? How did she wind up at the top of the pyramid? And then when she's there, she lectures you, like you did something. It's too much. Can't allow that. It's an offense against the truth, against reality, and against justice itself. And the second reason you can't allow it is very familiar to anyone who has children, which is if you allow it, you will encourage more of it. If you allow people to get away with things that are completely over the top and outrageous, if you allow your 2-year-old to smear the contents of his diapers on the wall of your living room, and you do nothing about it, if you allow your 14-year-old to light a joint at the breakfast table, if you allow your hormone-addled 15-year-old daughter to like slam the door of her bedroom and give you the finger, you're gonna get more of it. And those kids are gonna wind up in rehab. It's not good for you, and it's not good for them. No. There has to be a point at
Chưa
which
gom đủ tiền cho nên chưa được hồi trước đâu em ơi.
He loves them. Because they're his children, they live in his house. But he's very disappointed in their behavior. And he's gonna have to let them know. He's gonna have to get to your room right now and think about what you did. And when Dad gets home, you know what he says? You've been a bad girl. You've been a bad little girl and you're getting a vigorous spanking right now. And no, it's not gonna hurt me more than it hurts you. No, it's not. I'm not gonna lie. This is gonna hurt you a lot more than it hurts me.
Yeah.
And you earned this. You're getting a vigorous spanking because you've been a bad girl. And it has to be this way. It has to be this way because it's true. And you're only gonna get better when you take responsibility for what you did.
Right.
That's not said in the spirit of hate. It's not said in the spirit of vengeance or bigotry. Far from it. It's said in the spirit of justice, which is the purest and best thing there is. And without it, things fall apart.
Thank you.
The Democratic Party machine, and notice I'm not beating up on Kamala Harris, who's just a hapless victim who happened to be there in the right colors, so they grabbed her. Tim Walz, they needed some, whatever Tim Walz is. They need a weak man, because it is the party of weak men and unhappy women.
Yeah!
Which leads to the other, by the way. Where you find weak men, you will inevitably find unhappy women. Sorry. And they make them on purpose. They weaken the men to drive the women insane to have the most consistent voting bloc ever in the history of politics. Unhappy women made unhappy by weak men. And it could be anybody. It could be anybody. Kamala Harris is just a stand-in. She's a cardboard cutout. She has a soul, God created her, I'm not attacking her for humanity. But there's nothing there, it doesn't matter. If it wasn't Kamala Harris, it would be, I don't know, Pete Buttigieg or whatever, who are these people? They're the cutouts. They work for the machine. They're totally dispensable, they're replaceable. And they need to have limits set for them. And so on election day, and I sincerely believe Donald Trump's going to win. And if I thought he was going to lose, I'd be here anyway.
Yes, we will.
I would. In fact, I would have been here earlier if I thought he was going to lose, just to make the point. I mean it. I don't like people who jump on the winning train, okay? I think Donald Trump's going to win.
Yeah! Woo! He will win.
I think that the vibe shift has been so profound. I mean, the numbers suggest he's going to win. He's ahead in all 7 battleground states. But much more important, and the early voting seems to be favoring him. But more important even than the conventional political markers is what you smell around you. And it's the return of freedom. Yes. It's the return of the country you grew up in.
Right.
Where you could say things like, I like that guy, maybe like the other person, that's fine. That was not allowed for 9 years. And it's allowed now. And I think, and it's because of what they did, by the way, they deserve this.
Right.
But I think the vibe is so strong right now,
oh yeah,
I don't think we can get away with pretending something else happened. I don't think we can have another 2020 at this point.
Yes.
I know. For the kid-relevant facts from you, they prevented you from knowing about their candidate and then claim victory. Or 37 billion votes or whatever they claim he got. That's rigging the election.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
If the government prevents people from knowing critical information about a candidate, they have rigged the election. And they did that.
Yes.
Period. Oh, you're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say it because it's 100% true. And every person who hears it knows it's true, including the people who did it.
Woo.
I don't think they can do that again.
No.
I don't. And I don't think, no matter what they pull, 2 weeks from now, 13 days from now, I don't think they can get away with standing up and being like, on MSNBC, no, actually, Kamala Harris is a historically popular, it turns out. A woman who's never had a job who can't even pronounce her own first name consistently. That's how false she is.
Yeah.
Some woman who grew up in Montreal, Canada is lecturing me about America. Okay. I don't think they can do that. Because I don't think people are going to sit back and take it. I don't.
No.
It's enough. It's enough. That's the point at which you say no. I'm sorry. I put up with this crap for a long time. I indulge your little fantasy. It's like when your teenage girl becomes a vegetarian and you're like, okay, that's, yeah, well, okay, fine. No, I totally understand. You know, it's a phase. But if that phase goes on for 9 years and includes destroying your major cities and allowing your country to be invaded by millions of foreigners whose identities you don't know, and whose purpose in this country is unclear, by the way, why shouldn't we feel threatened by that? If they go out of their way to crush families, to make it impossible for your kids to buy a house, and getting involved in the sex lives of your children, which they are, if they do all of that, they need to lose. And at the end of the day, when they tell you they've won, no. You can look them straight in the face and say, I'm sorry, Dad's home, and he's pissed.
Thank you, Constitution! Thank you! Woo! Thank you! Look at that! Thank you!
Let's hear it for Charlie Kerr.
I'll tell you, this is a historic moment, everybody. By the way, have you been seeing the early voting numbers out of this state? You are living through a once-in-a-generation realignment, everybody, where it is no longer Republican versus Democrat. It's no longer the traditional dividing lines of a general Donald Trump and be here as our movement accepts them warmly. You see, they say Donald Trump is the best at deals the world has ever seen. And just look at this deal. We get Tulsi Gabbard and Bobby Kennedy, they get Liz Cheney. We get Elon Musk, they get Adam Kinzinger. You can have the warmongers of a generation prior, while we diversify, deepen, and strengthen our movement to include people that otherwise would never have been part of the Republican Party. Who here is a former Democrat? Raise your hand. Look at that. And by the way, you are all welcome in our movement. Because the Democrat Party left you a long time ago. As many of you know, I visit college campuses, so you don't have to. Just yesterday, we were on the campus of University of Georgia. I'm going to get a text message from Ted Cruz, but good job, guys, last week. And that's all I'm going to say. It was so amazing. Off to the side, there was this sad, pathetic display of misfits of 5 people at the Harris Walls table. And just feet away, we had 5,000 students attend. Democrats are so confused with what is going on. Never before has conservatism, the ideas of freedom, liberty, American exceptionalism, been so popular on these college campuses. You see, they're feeling what you're feeling, but even more so. This is the most depressed, sick, medicated, anxious generation in history. They're the first generation since George Washington to have their life and their standard of living worse off than their parents. This is a broken social contract, and how many of you feel as if the DC political class has forgotten you. The college students that I'm talking to, when they hear Kamala Harris continue on her diatribe of nothing, they recognize and realize that the DC political elite has failed them for one exception. That there were new wars under Bush and new wars under Obama and new wars under Biden, but for 4 years there were no new wars. And that for the last 4 years, people have been getting poor. In Atlanta, in order to buy a home when Donald Trump was president, you needed to make $75,000 a year. Now, it requires $135,000 a year, and interest rates are near 10%. And understand, this is intentional. They're trying to create a nation of renters, because when you rent, they can control you. When you own property, you're a free citizen, and they can't tell you what to do. In order to create more conservatives and more people who love the country, you need to have the 3 M's. Young people need to get married, they need to mate, and get a mortgage. The 3 M's are 3 things the Democrat Party is against. They do not celebrate marriage. They certainly do not celebrate having children. They had an abortion truck at their national convention, and they're making it harder than ever to buy a home. Donald Trump is running on a once-in-a-generation campaign to revitalize the American dream for a generation that has been mortgaged by the DC political class over the last 50 years. And where we are right now in Georgia will determine the future of America. You see, we are doing exceedingly well with early voting right now. And this is a very important distinction. Election day is the last day of voting. We have 12 days of voting left in this state. We have days about voting and getting them out to the polls. You have 12 days to outwork the Democrats, and that is my main message to you here. Do you really think, after they tried to put Donald Trump in prison for 700 years, they've tried to assassinate him a couple times, impeach him a couple times, that they're going to roll over in the next 12 days? You think they're going to hand us the keys to the White House? What Tucker said is correct. The early voting numbers are good. The voter registration numbers are good. We draw crowds 10 times, 100 times bigger than that. But you're trying to tell me that John Brennan and James Comey and Clapper and Susan Rice and Barack Obama are just going to say, you know what, we're 12 days out. Go have the White House, MAGA. No. Instead, you must be on guard. In fact, you must be vigilant that these people are going to try something in a panic, despair, the likes of which we've never seen, because they know that their time is running out. They know the American people are ascendant and that their time will soon come on November 5th. So what does that mean? And you can smell it in the air. You can smell the panic. You can smell the desperation. You can smell the disgust of what they see coming forward. And the thing that scares them and terrifies them more than anything else, is that we not just vote, but we get new people to go vote, and we chase every single voter in this state, and in Arizona, and in Nevada, and Pennsylvania, and North Carolina, and Wisconsin, and Michigan. You see, you're going to be able to tell your kids and your grandkids about this moment. You're going to be able to tell them about the moment that you were in Georgia, and the entire country was put in jeopardy. You are going to be able to tell them about when the Constitution was put in suspense. And that is why this election feels bigger than any other election that we lived through. Because it's not just the typical corporate tax rate debate that we have enjoyed. Instead, it is so much bigger. It is civilizational defining. And you need to go to every single person you know and say, are you voting for Trump? I don't know if I'm going to vote. And you have to repeat this. You say, no new wars, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, largest deportation effort ever, drill baby drill, death prices low, restoration of the Constitution, Supreme Court justices we can trust, and end for low fare. Those 10 things you tell every single voter in the state, and you committed to them. And it's going to require a citizen force, because these next 12 days will define the future of our republic. And that is why you are here. That is why you waited hours and hours and hours to get into here. And that is exactly what we're doing at Turning Point Action. To register new voters in states that are still registering voters, like Michigan, and same-day registration. And as I travel the country, and I'm doing this on college campuses, I can feel a surge, the likes of which was even greater than 2020, the likes of which that was even greater than 2016. It is a citizen-led movement, and let's just remember what we have been through, everybody. The forces of darkness have tried everything they possibly can. And what does success look like? It looks like no matter what you throw at this movement, no matter how much you tar and feather us, smear, slander, call us names, cancel us, you call us a racist, or you try to put our candidate in jail, that we understand that this is a different type of divide. This is the citizens of a country who we own the country, not them.
Yes!
We own the country.
Right!
We're in charge, not you. You work for us. And we are willing to send a message. And Donald Trump is a metaphorical, you hear that, media? A metaphorical tomahawk missile against the DC ruling regime to send them a reminder. We're the boss. You're not. You see, the media are starting to really get upset. So why is it that people are still voting Trump after all these things? It's because of all of these things that we're still voting for Trump. Because I look at a man who refuses to give up. They say, well, is this someone that you want your kids to grow up and to look up to? I say, yes, I'm going to tell my son that in the line of fire, that if you ever think as if things could ever get dark and you rise and you say, fight, 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 I want my son to be like that one day.
Right! Right!
I want my kids to look up to a president that even though they take his business empire away and he's facing 7 lifetimes in prison, he keeps on fighting for you, where he has nothing to gain and everything to lose, to get into the arena. There has never been a candidate in modern American history that has lost so much for something that did not benefit him, but instead put you in the room, and that is why they are so anxious and nervous. I want you to understand.
Woo! Yes!
Right now, they are popping pills at Pfizer that Bobby Kennedy might run the FDA and the CDC everybody. Right now, the warmongers in D.C. are shaking. They're trembling like a leaf that Tulsi Gabbard might go in and expose the fraud of us sending $200 billion to Ukraine while our border remains wide open. The government gangsters, as Pastor Patel would put it, that have robbed us blind, they're starting to get really nervous saying, is Elon Musk really going to come in and look at our budgets? Oh, you better believe Elon Musk is going to come in. The Department of Government Efficiencies are. And what Binhvo-Ngoctrang, everybody? It is from people that have gained so much in the system and a bottom up, and the only people supporting Kamala Harris are the ones that are happy robbing more from you and covering up for their crimes. Let me say that again. The only people supporting Kamala Harris are comfortable robbing more from you and covering up for your crimes. For 50 years, this part of America has grown poorer, while the Kingdom of Washington, D.C. has grown infinitely richer. The wealthiest counties in America are all centered around Washington, D.C. And the heartland of this country and the industrial base of this country, where the muscular class built this country, have seen their jobs shipped over to China, and we got a bunch of opioids in return, and piles of plastic, and deteriorated neighborhoods that we no longer recognize. And in a series of events that only God could orchestrate, in a series of events that only our divine Father could put together, the most unusual set of circumstances is that a billionaire from New York had to get in the arena to tell the other billionaires that have been robbing you, the game is over, you're fired, and the American people are happy.
Woo! Beautiful! Yeah! Woo! Let's go!
We are here in a state that is a very Christian state, a state that loves God and loves Jesus.
Yes.
If there is my biggest concern of this election, it is the faithful, it is the pastors that are not engaging right now in this election. We have 12 days left, and you need to lovingly challenge pastors that are silent, that you have a biblical obligation to engage in this election, that you have a biblical obligation to free people and to exalt righteousness. For one other reason, no other reason than 320,000 missing kids on our southern border right now, which is modern-day slavery, and Donald Trump put an end to it. Donald Trump is the most pro-life president in American history, as he's responsible for rehearsal Roe v. Wade, moved to embassy in Jerusalem, and more than anything else, everybody, is on the other side. The Democrat Party supports everything that God hates. The Democrat Party is espousing the death of the unborn, the mutilation of our teenage kids, open borders, the destruction of our sovereignty, the elimination of our currency status. I believe there is a spiritual battle happening around all of us, but don't expect a spiritual victory if our own pastors not engaged. Right now, this state is a Christian state. I want to see that to continue. But we need the faithful. We need those of you that have influence over your congregation to put pressure on your pastors. And those, if you're a pastor watching this right now, I hope this touches you. I hope you, and I'm looking right at the camera right now, I hope you give a Sunday sermon and you talk about how the Democrat Party leads everything that God hates. I hope you tell your congregation how to do it. I hope you challenge them and tell them that they're going to do that. Because everybody, we have 12 days on voting left. This state will determine the future of America. Go vote now. Fight evil. Get in the arena. And if we do that, on November 5th, we'll be looking at that beautiful CNN clip. Donald Trump elected the first.
Thank you cả nhà nhé. Bây giờ mình sẽ ngưng lại với một xíu nữa là live trực tiếp cho tổng thống ta nói chuyện nha, đúng 7:30. Ok quý vị, bye bye quý vị.
it was really a no-brainer for me. Not only is Trump an amazing leader, but I've had the pleasure of becoming friends with him over the past few years. And I wanted to share a couple personal stories with you guys about the man he is when the cameras are not rolling. One is, I was down in Florida, we live in Florida part-time, so I was down there, I got a chance to play golf with President Trump. And so we're coming up to a green one day, and his grounds crew was working. They kind of got out of the way so we could finish the hole. And after we're done, he walks up. There's like 4 of these guys. He walks up and says, "Hey man, nice to meet you. How long have you been here? How long have you worked here?" I think the guy told him 5 or 6 years. He just shucked him off about $500, thanked him for his loyalty to him. And next guy, "How long you worked here?" 6 years. Gave the guy some cash. Never turned around, no cameras rolling, no anything. And it told me a lot about the guy the very first time I ever met him. That even when the cameras aren't rolling, he's just an amazing person. Number 2, the second story, and this was just a few weeks ago. After Hurricane Helene came through and devastated part of our state of Georgia here, in 5 days, President Trump raised over $6.5 million for Georgians to help rebuild our state. When nobody else was doing anything, President Trump stepped up, even when he wasn't in office, stepped up to help our state, the state of Georgia. And to me, once again, it showed me what kind of person President Trump was at the heart of it all. So that is my friend. That's why I'm friends with President Trump. That's why I'm going to already cast my vote Monday for President Trump. Now that being said, I've seen firsthand how the media can twist the truth. They've done it to me simply for putting out a song called "Try That in a Small Town," if you guys remember that. Yeah, the song simply called out people for trashing our cities, harming people, disrespecting law enforcement, and costing our taxpayers millions of dollars for their unruly behavior. But no one is on the receiving end of lies and fake news more than President Trump. That's a fact. He endures more than the average person can fathom, and the fact that he doesn't need to be here, but chooses to be here, says everything I need to know. He's a president who, when knocked down, gets back up, raises his fist in the air, and says, "Fight." And to me, that's a warrior. And that's who we need running this country right now.
Yo!
We have 1,000 chemicals in our food that are illegal in Europe. But the problem is not from those chemicals. The big problem is corruption in our federal agencies. And these agencies are now owned by big pharma, by big food, and big agriculture. Don't you want a president who's going to get the chemicals out of our food?
No!
And don't you want a president who's going to get the corruption out of Washington, D.C.?
No!
And don't we deserve a president of the United States that's going to make America healthy again?
No! Thank you! Woo!
Nobody gets a standing ovation like that. What's going on?
Woo!
Thank you. And as you know, Bobby's great mother, she was a great woman, Ethel, passed away, so our regards and condolences to the family.
Woo!
And a great man, a brilliant person, and a true character, Tucker Carlson.
Woo! Whoa! Woo! Woo!
I think Donald Trump's singular contribution to this country and the world is by his presence exposing a lot of things a lot of us believed as fraudulent, as lies. It's changed my life watching it. But the single biggest lie that Donald Trump has exposed is that this is a functional democracy, when in fact, it's a country oppressed by a small group of its unhappiest citizens for their own benefit. And the promise of this campaign is that Donald Trump will return this country to its owners. And that's its population, that's its people, that's its citizens.
Whoa!
I mean it. That's why I'm so honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Woo!
We have seen from the very beginning how much President Trump has been attacked, smeared, censored, the government weaponized against a candidate for president and a former president in ways that have never been seen in our country before. The reason why this has happened is because he is the sole person who has had the courage to stand up against the uniparty war machine in Washington and have the audacity to call for peace and an end to war.
Woo!
While he has challenged the swamp creatures in Washington, all of you have resoundingly nominated him for president 3 times in the last 3 presidential elections.
Woo!
He stands on the side of the people. He stands on the side of peace and prosperity and freedom for all Americans. It's why I'm proud to stand with President Trump and why we, the people, must vote to send him back to the White House and make America great again.
Woo! Woo! Whoa! Woo! Whoa! 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 Whoa!
That is a great group.
Yes.
That is some assemblage of talent. And very great honor to have them. Thank you very much. We're also pleased to be joined tonight by Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. Burt, thank you. Wherever you may be, Burt. We will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect they so dearly deserve. We will strengthen and modernize our military. We will build a massive missile defense shield over our country, all made in the USA. Why should we? And we will land an American astronaut on Mars in a very short period of time. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools.
Whoa! Woo!
We will keep men out of women's sports.
Whoa!
I will defend religious liberty. I will restore free speech. And I will defend the right to keep and bear arms, our Second Amendment.
Woo!
After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build up our country, defend our borders, and protect our citizens. And we will stop illegal immigration once and for all. It will be ended. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be conquered. We will be a free and proud nation once again. Everyone will prosper. Every family will thrive. And every day will be filled with opportunity and hope. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda with a landslide that is too big to rig. Early voting is underway. Get everyone united. Tell your husband, Harry, get out of that sofa, Harry. Turn that damn football game off, Harry. You're going to vote, Harry. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. That's what we're going to have. With your help from now until Election Day, we will redeem America's promise. We will put America first, and we will take back the nation that we all so love. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in, we will never give up, and we will never, ever back down, and we will never, ever surrender.
Yeah! We love you! Woo!
And together we will fight, 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 and win, win, win. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. You will be so proud of your vote when you look back in 25 years, 50 years, a long time. You're going to be so proud. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again.
Yes!
We will make America healthy again.
Yes!
We will make America strong again.
Yes!
We will make America proud again.
Yes!
We will make America safe again.
Yes!
And we will make America great again. Thank you.